Previous literature reviews have typically focused on developing best practices. Vail, Bucher, and Palancar formulate advice on how organizations should establish policies, prepare pre-event logistics, and partner with the public as well as authoritative sources. Other suggestions relate to crisis response, such as meeting the needs of the media, communicating with compassion and empathy, and accepting uncertainty and ambiguity. They also found little discussion of differences in access to technology. The latter has been dubbed the digital divide and can be said to encompass three distinct aspects, namely a global, social, and democratic divide. The former refers to differences in access to technology. The second concerns how a population can be seen as information-rich or poor, while the last aspect relates to differences in the use of digital media to partake in public life. Fraustenau, Lowe, and Jen conclude that there is substantial evidence that social media use increases during disasters and that media choices are crucial, Twitter being ideal for quick, short news updates. Repeatedly, they find that studies for the most part focus only on single cases in single media, mostly Twitter, but results are taken to represent social media in general. They also point out that there are several types of social media users, ranging from those who only take part in information without ever writing or sharing a post or a lurker, to those who have thousands of followers and sometimes even organize public events for social media during crisis. They have various reasons for using social media during crisis, such as information retrieval, connecting with friends and family, and also stress-relieving humor. Finally, they argue that most of the research has been descriptive and call for investigations of causal relationships that can guide best practices. Ruggiero and Voss focused on monitoring and social media communications and found that most of the research discussed the use of YouTube, with Twitter and blogs trailing behind. It is notable that Facebook was not studied. They presented advice regarding how practitioners should look for the communication patterns of emerging networks, such as how network is developed from a tweet via retweets or a blog post that is shared multiple times on social networking platforms. This study by Joel Rasmussen and Oyvind Ilhen will comprise a comprehensive quantitative content analysis, since the above literature reviews do not cover volume trends or only include a limited number of studies. It has been postulated both that the field is growing and that it is still quite limited. Yet another study states that research on crises and social media peaked, quantitatively speaking, in 2009 to 2010, which leads into the very first research question. What is the volume trend regarding research on social media and risk crisis communication? There are indications that the most of the research in this field rather focuses on relief and rehabilitation than on risk reduction. Another study criticizes the fact that the field is lacking experimental data. This leads to the second research question. To what extent is the field drawing lessons from risk pre-crisis situations, crisis situations, or experimental fictitious scenarios? It's important to note which platforms the research on risk and crisis addresses, as people of different generations use different social media, and platform popularity fluctuates. We need to be aware that some of today's social media may soon be yesterday's technology, which leads to the third research question. What is the trend in terms of social media platforms that the research focuses on? We know that public relations research has mainly focused on the corporate sector, but there is little knowledge of which actors and organizations the research on risk, crisis, and social media addresses, which will lead to the fourth question. Which groups of social media users and/or case organizations are studied? Communication theory and research were long developed in Europe and the US, and much less so in other parts of the world. It's been stressed that the power imbalances within global academia, including media and communication studies, has been as uneven as in the sectors explained in Wallerstein's world systems theory. So although risks and crises are part of lived experiences across the globe, and social media use is expanding fast, there may be a Western bias in terms of attention paid to certain regions, which leads to the fifth research question. Where are the empirical studies geographically focused? Following up on Question 5, we are also compelled to address how the research speaks to issues of ICT and social media access, which leads to the last research question. Do the studies mention the digital divide or other issues of social media access?